My manager screamed, "Shut your mouth and don't stop baking," so I baked until we ran out of storage space when my assistant manager Chelsea shouted, "Shut your mouth and don't stop baking until I tell you to stop." I smiled and turned up the oven temperature. By the time she realized what was happening, we had 416 extra bagels with nowhere to put them, and company policies stated that the person who authorized the production was responsible for the waste. I was a college sophomore working at the Bagel Barn, a popular chain where I'd been employed for nearly 2 years. I loved baking, the early morning quiet, the satisfaction of watching dough transform, the rhythm of production. My store manager trusted me to run the kitchen efficiently, and our waste numbers were consistently low. Then Chelsea transferred to our location. She'd been an assistant manager at another store where she'd developed a reputation for running a tight ship, which apparently meant terrorizing employees until they quit within her first week. She'd made a cashier cry for counting change too slowly, and written up a new hire for excessive bathroom usage. He had a documented medical condition. When I covered a shift at her former store, a coworker asked how I was surviving under the dictator. I diplomatically said Chelsea had high expectations that could be challenging. Word got back to her. Suddenly, I was on her radar. She began documenting every minor imperfection in my work, a single sesame seed under the counter written warning. 5 minutes late, after my car wouldn't start, formal reprimand. She'd stand behind me while I shaped dough, criticizing my technique, despite my consistently perfect results. My opportunity came during a Saturday morning rush. A charter bus had unexpectedly stopped at our location, bringing in about 40 customers at once. I had just finished a baking cycle and saw our display cases were still well stocked with every variety. The front counter needed help. I washed my hands and headed up to assist with orders. Chelsea spotted me immediately. "What are you doing out of the kitchen?" she demanded, loud enough for customers to hear. "We have plenty of bagels ready," I explained. "I thought I could help." "Shut your mouth and get back to baking," she snapped. "Don't stop until I tell you to stop. That's your job." Several customers looked uncomfortable. My coworkers winced. I returned to the kitchen and assessed the situation. Our standard baking rotation meant producing about 36 bagels every 15 minutes, but by adjusting the oven temperature and timing, I could push that to 48 bagels every 12 minutes. As the front counter rush subsided, our bagel bins filled to capacity. I moved excess bagels to backup trays, then to storage racks, then to every clean surface in the kitchen. 2 hours later, when Chelsea finally had a moment to check on me, her jaw dropped. "What have you done?" she gasped, staring at the mountain of bagels. "Following your instructions," I replied calmly. "You said not to stop baking until you told me to stop." "You never told me to stop." She tried to blame me for the waste, but 3 employees and at least 2 customers had heard her exact words. When our store manager arrived to investigate the situation, the story was corroborated unanimously. Chelsea had to personally drive excess bagels to 3 other locations, and we still recorded our highest waste day of the year. She received a formal warning from district management about resource management and communication style. She never told me to shut my mouth again. In fact, she started asking very specific questions about exactly how many bagels I thought we needed each hour. Sometimes the most effective way to handle a power tripper isn't to fight